Hello stampers and crafters, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah McGuire from Sassy Paper Crafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today's project is this one. How adorable is this card? I'm going to show you how to make this card using the Autumn Leaves stamp set from Stampin' Up! As well as a few other products. So if you want to see how to make this card, please keep watching. So for our card, we're going to start with a little bit of stamping, and I mean a little bit. We're going to be using the Autumn Leaves stamp set and the Autumn Leaves dies. I'm going to be using the I'm Thankful stamp and the For All You Do stamp. You can use a mix of whatever of the sentiments you like. There are 6 in all, so you pick. We're going to be stamping on some basic black cardstock. I have my stamps ready to go. We're also going to be using Versamark because we're going to be heat embossing this. So I don't know if you can really see that shimmer, but it is raised up and it's shiny and beautiful. And heat embossing is a really easy way to add interest to your card. So the first thing I'm going to do, I have my embossing powder here, is I'm going to take my embossing buddy, and this comes in the Embossing Editions toolkit. So with that kit, you get a brush and it brushes away all the extra powder. You get an embossing buddy, you get this tray, you also get, I have it here, a pair of these really cool tweezers. Now I use these all the time, so I have these up on my desk. You could keep them with your kit. I'm just going to set that to the side. Take my embossing buddy. We're just going to very lightly run this over the basic black. Now you don't want to push too hard. You'll notice down here at the bottom, you might notice, I got a little bit of powder down there. It will stick to the basic black. So if you push really hard and you get all the powder, there is powder in here. If you push that really hard and get all that powder out, it might leave a mark on your cardstock. So now we're going to take our Versamark, which is a watermark. It's a clear ink. I'm going to take the I'm Thankful stamp, and I'm just going to ink that up. You don't want to smush it. You don't want to push too hard. Same thing when you're stamping. You just want to gently stamp it and let it kind of soak into the paper, especially for these smaller stamps. You don't want them to like smushed. I'm just very gently pressing it, and now we can close this up. This would be a good time for tweezers if you wanted to use them. I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to move the stuff out of my tray, and then we're going to open up our embossing powder. And these come in sets of 3, so you'll get white, black, and clear with the first one, and then there's a metallics collection which has gold, silver, and copper, I believe. So I'm just pouring it over, and then I'm flicking the excess off. Now you can take your brush here, and there's some little bits that I don't want there, and I accidentally got the F in Thankful, so we're going to go back over that. Just get some of that out of the way. And now you can set that to the side. The tray helps, so you can pour the excess powder right back into the jar. This stuff lasts forever. I just got the new embossing powder from Stampin' Up! Because they had a supply chain problem. So now we're using the basics Wow powders. This is the opaque bright white. Get the excess off of there, and I'm just going to grab my heat tool. And this would be a good time too to use your tweezers so you don't get your hands burnt. I'm going to put this up on the highest setting, and hopefully you'll get to see this go from a powder to super shiny and embossed. Now that's all embossed. You want to make sure you get all the powder. I did have a sample where I didn't quite get the powder on the end, and I touched it, and then it kind of was a mess. Oh, and here's September's host code. There was a couple days left on that, so if you are placing an order and use that host code, you will get goodies from me. So now we're going to take the dies, a few of the dies in the Autumn Leaves die set. Autumn Leaves die set. I have this label here, and then I love that there are two of the each leaf here, because you can do multiples really quickly, but I have the other ones already out. And then this guy here for our small little words there. Now, my embossing here isn't perfect. Some of it came off a little bit, and then there's also a few dots around. I'm okay with that. I actually kind of like it that way. I think it's more like vintagey looking. So we're going to die cut those, and then I want to show you a quick trick. So we have this background here that is embossed. I'm going to cut two of the leaves, these two, out of this cardstock before I emboss it. I'm also going to do a black one with that leaf. So then after I die cut everything, I'm going to use the exposed brick 3D embossing folder on just this Blackberry Bliss piece. So I'm going to do all my Stampin' Cut and emboss machine work all at once. So we're going to die cut these, emboss this piece here, and then I will show you how to put everything together. So now everything is die cut. We have embossed our other panel. I'm going to show you how to put this card together. Here I have a piece of the Splendid Autumn Designer Series paper. All the measurements, all the supplies that I've used here today are on my blog, sassypapercrafts.com. You can find the direct link to this project in the description of this video. We're going to take our paper trimmer though. I have this already cut to 4 1/4 by 3. And I'm just going to cut 1-inch strips. You should get 3. And I'm going to be very careful to not mix them up because I want it to look like a complete picture. I'll show you what I mean. So you're going to do 2 cuts. You'll have 3 strips, and they go together like this. Move my paper trimmer out of the way. And you can see on our sample card here how it's all one picture, and it's just slightly separated. You can use liquid glue for this. I am going to do it this time. I did not on that one, and that's why it's not perfectly even. I'm just going to start with our furthest to the left. Just a little bit of liquid glue. I like liquid glue for this because you can move it around. I'm just lining this up with my grid paper because hopefully that gives me a little bit of a better time lining it up. So that looks pretty good to me. Now we'll take our middle piece, a little bit of glue, and just give it a little bit of space, like that. Just kind of make sure they are lined up, and then our last piece. And see, I did too much space. So it might even be easier for you to do the end pieces first and then do the middle piece. I think once you get all your decorations on there, it's going to be just fine. So now I'm going to take a piece of the 1/2-inch textured ribbon. This is Blackberry Bliss and Gold. This is part of the Regal Winter Suite, which, I mean, it's beautiful for winter, but I thought Blackberry Bliss is such a fall color. I'm just going to kind of eyeball that. Cut that off. I need this little tape here to hold this guy down. I get these as part of a product share for my upline. I love it because then I can just get a little bit of everything. So now for this part, I am going to use Stamp and Seal, because this is my little ribbon trick that I like to do. Just going to place it kind of where I want it. We're covering up that sunset just a little bit and wrap that around. Oops. Wrap it around. And then take our Blackberry Bliss panel, and you can see I cut out the leaves from that before I embossed it. I'm going to stick that down, and then a little more seal. You can add this right to our basic black card base. And while I'm at it, I will put the inside in there. You definitely could stamp on this. You could put a little bit of that designer series paper on the inside. I'm just going to go ahead and leave this blank. Sometimes I like a lot of room to write, especially thank you cards. I feel like thank you cards, somebody did something very specific that I want to thank them for, so I like a lot of room to write on those. So I'm just going to grab a few Stampin' Dimensionals for our I'm thankful. I'm just going to stack that right on top of that ribbon. Now, if you find your ribbons a little wobbly, mine's okay. You could always go in with a glue dot. I'm just going to show you how to do it. Peel a glue dot off with the end of your pick tool. And just kind of pop that down, and that way it doesn't move around on you. So I'm going to take the glue dots again, flip them these leaves over. I'm just going to put a couple on the back. You could also just take the leaf itself, push it to the glue dots. I kind of want this one down in that corner. Now for this one, I left it kind of loose. I only used one glue dot, and I put it on the front of the leaf towards the bottom, and I stuck it right to the sentiment. So that way it kind of just floats around. And then for our basic black leaf, I folded it up just a little bit. And then we can take a glue dot right to the back of that one. And then for our little sentiment down here, I used liquid glue. And just right down at the bottom. Sometimes I like to take a clear block and just lay it on top of that. And then our finishing touch is some of the Regal foil dots. These are two from the Regal Winter suite of products. We're going to use the Blackberry Bliss, but there is also Night of Navy, Shaded Spruce, and Berry Burst, which to me kind of looks more like polished pink, but we don't have that color anymore, but that's what they look like to me. Looks a little bit light to be Berry Burst, but I guess once I put it with Berry Burst, maybe it'll look more like Berry Burst to me. Just kind of scatter those, and that is our project. So I hope you enjoyed our project today. Again, here is September's host code. There's a few days left on that. You can find this project and the other ones I've made this week using the autumn leaves stamp set and dies on my blog, sassypapercrafts.com. Again, the link in the description of the video will take you right to this project where you can find all the supplies and measurements I used today. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.